Before we start our programming today, I would like to play this message from Jim Zemlin, the Executive Director of the Linux Foundation, about CNCF's longtime leader, Dan Kahn, who recently passed away due to complications from colon cancer.
You know, 2020 has been a very tough year. And you know, Dan was, as all of you know from this community, forever the optimist and problem solver. When he was diagnosed, he sought to defy the odds and fight this disease as long as he could. Sadly, and very suddenly, things took a turn for the worse, and Dan did succumb to his illness in a short time. You know, Dan played a special role at the foundation. His impact far exceeded his time with us. He helped establish the organization we are today, and he oversaw the fastest growing open source community in history, your community, the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. Dan was also a pioneer. In 1994, he conducted the first secure commercial transaction on the internet after building the first web shopping cart, something all of us use almost every day. Dan was opinionated. He never strayed from a debate via email or in person. You know, I loved to go to dinners with Dan because I knew the conversation would always be interesting and I wouldn't have to say a word. Does that sound familiar to anybody you know in the open source community? Indeed it does. Because Dan was one of you, and we're lucky to have spent time with him. What you may not know about Dan was his lifelong desire to help others. From serving as a volunteer firefighter in college, to his constant advocacy to encourage diversity in the CNCF community and in open source in general, to stepping aside from his role in the Cloud Native Computing Foundation to incubate and found the Linux Foundation Public Health Initiative, which is helping public health authorities around the world combat COVID-19. Dan could always be counted on to help in a crisis. Initial reactions to his death from members of our community and many of you are full of statements. Dan helped me, paired with a life or career-changing impact. Many of us benefited directly from Dan's generosity of time and thoughtfulness. Dan leaves behind his wife Julie and two young boys, Adam and Ellis, whom he loved dearly, and many of you probably met at one of the many CNCF events around the world. What makes this even more tragic is that Dan himself lost both his parents at roughly the same age as his boys are today to the AIDS pandemic. This is why our public health effort was so important to him personally. I was able to spend some time with Dan the week he passed, and he wanted me to tell all of you how much he loved working with everyone in the open source community. He was truly proud to have had the opportunity to help impact so many lives through his work and friendships in your world. You know, today it seems like the world is sick from so many things. And while Dan didn't succeed in defeating his illness, it was his wish that we carry on in the spirit of collaboration and generosity in establishing the Linux Foundation Public Health Initiative as a shared resource, not just to fight the COVID-19 pandemic, but to combat future health crises. In the end, Dan wanted us all to see beyond each other's weaknesses and to work together in the spirit of love and kindness. And we will honor his legacy by doing just that. Not only in public health, but in all the important work all of you do together in open source. We would like to support his family in this time of loss and secure a future for his boys' college education. For those of you who can contribute, we've set up a site that you can contribute to the Dan Kahn Family Education Trust through the URL you see on your screen right now. If you'd rather not donate through that option, a family trust is being set up that you will be able to contribute to directly, and you can email the Linux Foundation to find out how to contribute there as well. We encourage everybody to consider thanking Dan for his contributions by supporting his family. I want to thank all of you so much. I will miss Dan. And on his behalf, I want to express how much he cared for each and every one of you. Thank you.
Good morning, Barcelona. My name is Dan Kahn, and I am Executive Director of the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. And the work that we're doing here together this week, building on top of the shoulders of giants, may be neither swift nor easy, but is also laying the foundations of the next generation of innovations, which are even now being built on top of Kubernetes. We, all of us, are part of the cloud native community. I entreat us to collaborate together in a spirit of kindness and with an awareness of history this week and hereafter. Thank you very much.
What an amazing tribute for an amazing man. Hello everyone. Welcome to KubeCon Cloud Native Con North America. I'm Priyanka Sharma and I'm the General Manager of the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. It is my great pleasure to welcome you here. Dan built this amazing ecosystem with all of us. We're the story of Team Cloud Native, a story of diversity-powered resilience. This diversity is at the heart of the open source movement, that together we're stronger, faster, better, and more innovative than alone and apart. And it is this diversity that makes us more resilient to weather any challenge, even the loss of a great leader. As Dan grew this community, diversity was at the cornerstone of everything he built. He changed the face of what tech conferences look like with inspirational KubeCon chairs and attendees from all kinds of backgrounds, just like all of you. Under his leadership, end users became an official part of our ecosystem, and we became a global movement. Dan's contribution to our world are many, and to borrow from a well-known quote, Dan was the man in the arena whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error or shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. That is the standard Dan set for us, and we will not let him down. Team Cloud Native, I say we are the ones in the arena. We will fight on and keep building the technology, the community, and the stories that Dan laid the foundation for. 2020 has thrown a lot at us, but these are the kind of challenges that open source and cloud native were built for. Our resilience comes from our far-reaching, diverse community. Dan worked tirelessly to diversify not only our demographics, but also our geographic reach and the end users we serve, who in turn touch hundreds of millions of consumers with their products and services. It is my commitment to you that we will double down on those efforts to innovate more, faster, better, by unleashing and enabling the power of a diverse foundation of doers. In order to do so, we need to hold ourselves to the highest standards of inclusion. Unfortunately, our ethos is not always reflected in our code. To date, offensive terminology such as master-slave and whitelist-blacklist exists in our code bases. The Kubernetes community recognized this and has already made big changes. Building upon their work in the Kubernetes naming working group and partnering with industry friends such as IBM and Red Hat and many others, we have kicked off a cross-organizational collaboration focused on inclusive naming in code. The goal of the initiative is to help motivated projects and organizations to effectively manage to better terminology. When it comes to diversity and inclusion, open source has broken the barriers we call borders. The cloud native community is no exception. Dan, after all, brought KubeCon to Asia-Pac, and under his leadership, CNCF welcomed both members and projects from the region. Today, I am thrilled to welcome Volcano Engine by ByteDance, a global company based in China, to CNCF as a platinum member. Let's learn more about them from their VP, Dr. Jin Zhang, joining us from Beijing.
Volcano Engine is an enterprise cloud service platform launched by the Chinese technology company ByteDance. We have more than 60,000 employees across 150 countries. Our apps, including the Toutiao content platform and the Douyin video sharing social network, support 75 different languages and are among the most popular in app stores in dozens of countries. We have been a very heavy user of cloud-native technologies for a long time. ByteDance, for example, uses containers to manage 500,000 physical machines across tens of data centers. All of our apps have been built on top of microservices and service meshes, so we deeply know the value of cloud-native technologies. And secondly, part of Volcano Engine strategy is to place a lot of emphasis on the developer ecosystem and the community. We want to open source our own technologies around things like cloud-native storage and cloud-native machine learning. We want to impact the developer community, and CNCF is one of the top communities in this domain. So that's the right channel to join.
I definitely agree with that. Thank you for joining us, Jin. Asia is not the only place embracing cloud native. The passion of our community connects dots across many parts of the globe. Take, for instance, Kasten, a startup in the San Francisco Bay Area that was recently acquired by VM, an international company in the data protection space based out of the US and Switzerland. Today, they are upgrading to a platinum membership. Their general manager, Neeraj Tolia, has joined me here today. Let's learn from him about why Kasten by VM is doubling down on CNCF.
For those of you who don't already know us, Kasten is the market leader for Kubernetes data management. We make it very easy for both developers and operators to run stateful cloud-native applications by providing a powerful Kubernetes native platform for backup, disaster recovery, and cross-cluster and cross-cloud application mobility. Till recently, we were a startup that, in fact, emerged from stealth at KubeCon in 2017. Given what we owe to this community, increasing our support for CNCF after a recent acquisition by Veeam was an extremely important but easy decision to make. And it also shows the commitment to the broader ecosystem. Looking forward, as exciting as things are today, I believe that we still have a growth in front of us. I remember my first KubeCon in Seattle in 2016, and even though cloud-native technology adoption has taken off like a hockey stick since then, we will look back at today with very fond memories of what will still feel like the early days. Given how important developers and being application-centric is to everything that we do at Kasten, I'm also looking forward to seeing the team engage even further with both the community and CNCF during this period of upcoming growth. To everyone out there, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for your support, Neeraj. As Jin and Neeraj have shared, these new memberships are an homage to our community, our technology, and its promise for end users. This ecosystem is so diversified. After all, we built this ship on Kubernetes, and its success enabled, nay, demanded, a constellation of projects to support modernizing applications. Today, many of our 70-plus projects are used in tandem by our end users to meet their diverse cloud-native needs. For example, CNCF hosts the Vitesse project, which is a database clustering system for horizontal scaling of MySQL. End-user company HubSpot uses Vitesse to run 100% of their MySQL clusters on top of Kubernetes, processing 100+ terabytes of data. Another end-user company, Payit, provides a digital platform for government agencies. Think digital DMV. After adopting Kubernetes, Prometheus, Envoy, and Fluentd, Payit reduced their infrastructure costs to a mere 1% of revenue. That is cloud native at its finest. As you can see, our end users are changing the world. And many of you are sitting in the audience in your own homes today. That's why end user-driven open source is so inspiring. Today, workloads are run at a scale never seen before, managing complexity none of us has ever experienced. Establishing a direct feedback loop between our end users and projects has been invaluable and further diversifies Team Cloud Native. We thank you, end users, for taking the time and effort, and we promise to continue to build end user-driven open source here in Cloud Native with you. And as you have told us, security concerns rise to the top of the metaphorical stack as you bring Cloud Native pilots to production. Fear not, Team Cloud Native is here to support. Earlier this year, we announced a new certification, Certified Kubernetes Security Specialist, or CKS. The CKS is a performance-based exam. Today, I'm excited to announce that registration for CKS is officially open. If you're an end user company, this certification will help you train and certify your developers with a working knowledge of container security. I encourage you to invest in your developers and support their journey from DevOps to DevSecOps with the CKS. Resilience comes in many forms. Diversifying skill sets is one of them. Finally, let's talk about a diversity not often discussed, that of workloads. Different verticals have unique requirements, and as the cloud-native ecosystem has matured, it is now positioned to address these needs. Two of the most demanding verticals that are also critical to our lives are telcos and edge computing. The cloud-native ecosystem has kicked off a cloud-native network function working group to define telco workloads based on Kubernetes. If this is something you care about, please attend our CNF working group kickoff on Thursday to learn more and participate. On the edge front, I'm excited to announce that Cox Communications shares our vision of bringing cloud native to the edge and is joining the CNCF as a gold member. Cox is the largest private broadband company in America, serving homes and businesses with critical connectivity and solutions. Cox is investing in edge capabilities and looks forward to partnering with developers across the ecosystem in delivering cloud services and low latency performance to their residential and business customers. We are thrilled to have them on board as a member and look forward to working with them in the coming year. When I think about all of this great work, I beam with pride. Pride at all of our efforts. Pride at the resilience we have shown in this challenging year. In all of the tributes I read about Dan, everyone shared how kind and caring he was. And I experienced the same with him. He was a visionary with a gentle soul. Someone who always wanted to see how he could help improve the lives of others. Let's live our lives by his example. Let's find the time to say hello to someone who may be churning out PRs and could use a break. Let's reach out to someone who may have gone dark and see if they need a helping hand. I don't want anyone to ever doubt, even for a minute, that there is a place for them here in Team Cloud Native. The answer is always yes. Because diversity-powered resilience is what open source and cloud native are all about. The web of all of us, inclusive, connected, and stronger because of it. Resilience is built, not born. Our open source way of doing will build ever more resilience in our companies, in our organizations, in our society. We are on the brink of change across borders, and certainly in the United States. Our diversity, our openness, our differences will power untold innovation. Innovation that matters, innovation that makes end users more efficient, productive, and creative, and innovation that ultimately adds value to the life of every single human being. Team Cloud Native, Dan set us on this path, and now it's on us. I say to you today, make the most of KubeCon Cloud Native Con and this amazing community that is gathered here. Go engage with each other, learn from the sessions, be inspired, and go do great things. Thank you.